Hey Rock Buds, Papa. Here we go with our second Rock ID example. Hope you like it. If you do, please subscribe. Here we go. Okie doke, here's rock number 2 that we're going to identify. I'll just give you guys a chance to look it over for a second or two. Okay, my general observations on this rock is that yes, I do see mineral crystals. They're pretty good size, and I don't see layers or lines or banding of any kind here. Here's a hunk of some nice white mineral included here. So I opened my RockD app and went to the location where I found this rock. It's a little bit east and south of Athens, Georgia, but not below that slanted black line, which is a fault line. Okay, when I press on that spot in RockD, it tells me the major rock types found in this area are biotite gneiss, mica schist, and amphibolite. If I didn't know what kinds of rocks these are, I could look them up on Google to find out that they're all metamorphic rocks, or I could look at the Rocks of Georgia book and that would tell me. I want to know what geologic terrain these rocks are in, and I look on this map and it says number 5, the Inner Piedmont, where I'm going to find metamorphic and igneous rocks, but not sedimentary. So my best guess so far is it definitely is not a sedimentary rock. Now, if we're talking about the Inner Piedmont geologic province of northern North Carolina and Virginia, yes, there are sedimentary rocks there. They are rocks that were deposited during the rifting of Pangea, and they're represented by the dark purple spots on the map. But there are none of those in the Georgia Inner Piedmont. So we can assume that our rock is not a sedimentary rock. Also double-checked with the Rocks of Georgia book on the geologic terrain or province, and yes, it shows that it is in the Inner Piedmont geologic terrain where I'm going to find metamorphic and igneous rocks. Okay, so now I'm looking to identify the mineral crystals that I see. And I know that feldspar in a rock is usually white or pink. So I do see feldspar, white spots and kind of reddish spots. So I'm going to call that feldspar. I also see some gray or clear spots in here. I'm going to call that quartz. And I see some black spots. I'm going to call that biotite mica. It could be something else that's black, but for now I'm going to stick with biotite mica, and there's some silvery mirror-like sparkles in there that could very likely be muscovite mica. Okay, so I've got a rock that has clear or gray quartz in it. It has white or reddish feldspar. It has likely black biotite and a mirror muscovite mica. And I know that this rock is not a sedimentary. It's either a metamorphic or an igneous rock, because both of those possibilities exist in the Inner Piedmont geologic province. Let's keep going. Okay, so let's use some clues to decide if this is a metamorphic rock or an igneous rock. We know that metamorphic rocks very often have banding, metamorphic banding. Those are light layers of light bands and dark bands. So I'm looking for those in this rock, and you know what? I don't see them here. So right this second I'm thinking it's an igneous rock, but RockD said the most common rocks were biotite gneiss, mica schist, and amphibolite. So I think I'm going to go to the Rocks of Georgia book and look those metamorphic rocks up and compare them to this rock. So I go to the Rocks of Georgia Book Index, and I see biotite hornblende gneiss. Okay, page 115. I will turn to page 115. And there's the description of it. Let's just look at the picture first and compare it to our rock. So here we are on page 116 with the photographs of biotite gneiss. So let's compare biotite gneiss in the picture with this stuff. I see kind of a banding here. That doesn't look like it to me. This is like the side view of that same biotite gneiss. Here's some more biotite gneiss. To tell you the honest truth, I see more black, dark colors in this biotite gneiss than I do in this sample here. I see a lot of light colors here. A lot of light feldspar, a lot of quartz and silvery muscovite. And here's another one. You've got some striping going on here. This is biotite hornblende gneiss. So, I don't think it's biotite hornblende gneiss. It could be. But right now I'm saying no. So now I'm at muscovite schist, which is one of the metamorphic possibilities according to Rock D. And nah, it ain't nothing like that. Muscovite schist has got these hunks of mica that are very shiny. So it's not that. Let's go back a page. This is quartz muscovite schist with pyrite in it. No, definitely not. And this is also quartz muscovite schist with thin layers of muscovite, but it's mostly made out of quartz or quartzite, so that's not my rock. So I've got all kind of different minerals here. Okay, the next one is amphibolite. Okay, here we have amphibolite, and there's a lot of white in it, but there's also a lot of black. Bunches of black. I also noticed in the amphibolite sample that there's very little quartz in there. But in our rock sample, we have lots of quartz. Metagabbro, which is an amphibolite equivalent. But when I compare it to my rock here again, it does not have hardly any, if any, quartz in it. Whereas my rock's loaded with quartz. Okay, rock buds, let's summarize on this rock. We know that it is in the Inner Piedmont geologic province where we're going to find metamorphic rocks and igneous rocks. We've looked at the three types of metamorphic rocks that Rock D suggested, and it doesn't look like it compares to any of those favorably, although we're not totally counting those out. But let's, by the process of eliminate, we know it's not a sedimentary rock because sedimentary rocks are not found in the Inner Piedmont geologic province. So that leaves igneous rock. It's an igneous rock. Let's go and search more on the basis of that assumption. Okay, now we want to decide if this rock is felsic, intermediate, mafic, or ultramafic. In other words, that's its rock reaction. We know that we can classify it as one of these because it's either an igneous or metamorphic rock, and it's helpful to classify those. It doesn't help to try to classify sedimentary rocks this way. So felsic rocks we know are light in color with lots of quartz in them, and on this freshly cracked surface I do see a lot of light minerals, feldspar, and clear / gray quartz. Okay, so that would say felsic. Could it be an intermediate rock? Intermediate rocks are salt and peppery. It could be. Could it be a mafic rock? Mafic rocks are dark. A lot of dark minerals, very few quartz. So I'd say not a mafic mineral. And we've looked at the amphibolite pictures in the book amphibolite is a mafic rock, and we found that no, it doesn't look like amphibolite. We looked at the biotite gneiss rocks in the book, which are intermediate rocks, and we said it could be, but it does not look like them. So what if we call it a felsic igneous rock? Okay, from here, I think the best thing to do is either Google felsic igneous rocks or go to the book and let's look up igneous rocks of the Inner Piedmont Geologic Province. Let's do that. Hey, rock buds. Another reason that I'm fairly confident this is a felsic rock and not an intermediate or mafic rock is, first of all, it's got a good bit of quartz in it. You don't find hardly any quartz in a mafic rock, or an ultramafic rock for that matter. Also, there are some specks of Mira muscovite mica there. And muscovite mica, you definitely find it in felsic, igneous, and metamorphic rocks, but you don't find it in intermediate mafic or ultramafic rocks. So that Mira muscovite is kind of a tip-off that we have a felsic rock. Kind of lucked up because when I go to the book and look up igneous rocks of the Inner Piedmont Geologic Province, I really have only two choices. One is granite, these are all granite. The other is diabase, and this is diabase. It's a mafic igneous rock, the only mafic igneous rock in the Inner Piedmont geologic terrain. So, which would you say it is? If you had to say, it's either granite or diabase. When I read here, it says little or no quartz for diabase, no biotite. Okay, that doesn't fit with our rock because we know we got quartz in it. So we're left with one conclusion, and that is granite. And even though these granites may not look exactly like our specimen granite, the minerals are the same: quartz, potassium feldspar, biotite, and some muscovite mica. Here's an example of granite with pinkish feldspar crystals. And look at these big old black biotite crystals. Isn't that pretty? Here's Stone Mountain, Georgia granite. And here's a close-up of Stone Mountain, Georgia granite. You can see the grayish quartz. Here's a good piece. And it's scattered throughout, so that says no to diabase, of course. And the whitish feldspar, a lot of that, black biotite mica, and clear Mira muscovite. So in all these granite specimens in the book, they have the same mineral complement as our rock. So what are we going to call this rock? This is granite. It's weathered granite. So it's going to look a little more beat up than these specimens. These are all either quarry specimens or fresh specimens. So we have an felsic igneous rock called granite with about equal parts of quartz, feldspar in it, and some biotite and a little bit of muscovite mica in there. So rock buds, this was a case in which Rock D told us the most abundant rocks in the area, but it turned out to be a different rock. And the main reason for this is that the location where I collected this rock is very close to the massive Elberton, Georgia granite. It is weathered Elberton granite, and I'll show it to you in the book. Okay, see Athens, Georgia. Just above this fault line is where the rock was. That's all Elberton, Georgia granite, batholith granite. And likely it goes underneath this fault and into this area too. And so that's why we collected Elberton granite there in the inner Piedmont geologic province. So rock buds, that tells us that that's why we use a variety of techniques and clues to determine a rock, because something might point one direction and that be the wrong direction. For example, rock D pointed us to metamorphic rocks, and yet we had an igneous rock. So granite. Hope you enjoyed this. If so, please subscribe. And this is Papa saying to all my outstanding rock buddies, happy rock hunting. Papa out.